Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host that likes to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So, Fed minutes just came out. We're up, well, let me update this just to make sure that, we're up 20 points on the S&P cash. Dow's up 145. NASDAQ's up 95. Russell 2000 up 11. Volume as we start the show, about 4.2 billion shares. So an okay day, but nothing really exciting. Of course, probably the more interesting stuff out here in the meantime is, what is that? Gold at 1610. And, of course, the U.S. dollar, which is I've been watching closely, $99, 99.593. So we're getting very close to the $100 mark on the U.S. dollar index. That's for the March 2000 contract. So just kind of a melt up on the Fed repo. And I was thinking in the shower this morning if there was a kind of a Lord's Prayer for the Fed and something to do with give us today our daily repo. And I hadn't thought it through much. Maybe I'll think about it tonight. But there certainly seems to be kind of that just endless stream of cash. Now, the question is, just because we have an endless stream of cash, does it mean the market can go higher? And the answer is probably, at least for this week, not. We're probably getting very close to some fairly severe resistance levels at 3,400 on the S&P cash. That's from the options last night. I kind of covered in my newsletter today why you can't, or yesterday I didn't have a good feel for the market was going to go, at least from options. They weren't giving any good clues. They were kind of all over the place. And there's a reason why. I had a couple of emails about that. So I answered that in the newsletter this morning, but there is a better way to do expected outcomes, especially in the face of a lot of unknown data. It's been around for a while, but I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, and that is that if you practice uncertainty, as we should as part of the stock market, what we are really thinking about is not just having positive odds, let's say like there's 50-50 chance, but actually being able to have negative odds. And in negative odds, you could have a plus 50, negative 50, and they could cancel each other out. And that's kind of what happened yesterday when I couldn't give a good call on the market. Now, by the end of the day yesterday, the options came in. They started showing the market was firming up, but severe, at least the option market makers were thinking severe resistance at that 3,400 level in the S&P cash. So we'll see what happens. But again, we're in options expiration week, and Friday, 80-85% of the time, you're going to see the S&P over the last Wednesday, which is what was that? Come on. Okay, so the 12th. So the 12th The close was at 33.79.45. So you've got to have a fairly compelling case or the market in a downtrend, a significant downtrend, to generally buck that. We're just slightly over that at the moment. So let's call it 33.80. So to that hold, all we really need is just, basically our, we're 10 points above it and maybe another 10 points. Again, market makers don't see a lot of upside beyond now. Of course, the bigger trends are out here is Apple warns, and it's basically the same price that it was when it warned Friday night or over the weekend. Not a lot else to say out here other than we've got some rabid bullishness, euphoria in stocks like Tesla. Tesla has all the profits for the next 15 years baked in. If they do exactly what they say, it would take 15 years for the actual profits that would eventually come in to justify its price today. Now, maybe everybody's wet. I doubt it, though. Is a sign of euphoria. There are some other stocks out here that are actually showing similar signs of that kind of euphoria. But continue to see heavy shorting in Apple. I thought that there was a chance that it could go down. We got that little break. But again, $280 billion in cash. And of course, they went right after that. Apple's probably going to keep the price up and could keep the price up for a long time. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at pat@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den if there's something you want to look at. We're going to be looking at the movers on earnings today. We may be doing a few other things also. But let's do a little history, and then we'll come back.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1945, U.S. Marines invade Iwo Jima. The amphibious landings of the Marine began the morning of February 19th as the Secretary of the Navy, James Forstall, accompanied by journalists, surveyed the scene from a command ship offshore. As the Marines made their way onto the island, 7 Japanese battalions opened fire on them. By the ending, more than 550 Marines were dead. More than 1,800 were wounded. The capture of Mount Shirabachi, the highest point of the island, and the bastion of Japanese defense took 4 more days and many more casualties. When the American flag was finally raised on Iwo Jima, the memorial image was captured in a famous photograph that later won a Pulitzer a Pulitzer Prize, he did say. And of course, we are very lucky that we had people that would give the last big devotion of their lives for us on this day in 1945. We'll be back after this. We'll start looking at some charts.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we'll get a good look at the big movers out here. Of course, the biggest loser of the day is Groupon. Kind of tough to tell. I remember the show where this IPO'd, and Tom and I were discussing it. And if there was a stock that had every single sign of blowing up and being worthless one day, it certainly was Groupon. There were a handful of others we talked about the same way. GoPro and some of those. Eventually, they will all meet their demise as it was a big, there's a lot of reasons to get cash. And one way to get that cash is to go public and just take all the money and run. That's what the CEO for Groupon actually did very quickly after the IPO. And it wasn't like the first time at the rodeo for him, because he'd done it twice before. Kind of hard to believe that he wasn't going to do it once again. Not a bad idea for a business, just one that they, in business school, they'll talk about moats. What can you do to keep everybody out of your business, and just taking a 1,000 cuts to eventually take you down to these kind of levels that run you broke. But one of the easiest, most predictable losers in the market. And do we have the rest of that? Yes, we do. So Groupon gets the losing horn for the day. So what else do we have? Well, In-Phase Energy. This had a lot of folks, if I'm not mistaken, short this stock. And they're in the solar power business, but they're in a very specific part of that business, which is taking DC and turning it into AC current and AC current into DC current. But they've kind of come up with the most efficient means of doing that. And I talk very often about you don't want to be in the gold mine. You want to be around the gold mine. History shows you that people in the gold mine business, probably most of them, if not all of them, went broke eventually. The people that made the long-term money were the people either making or selling the picks and shovels or the jeans. Don't hear many people talking about big companies that came out of the gold rush other than Levi Strauss, some of the others that got into that business. But Enphase apparently is doing everything right. And had a lot of people short this part of the business. But if you make a better mousetrap, people will come to it. So it gets the party horn. There it goes. Maybe a second party horn. On a day like this. Lots of volume, huge breakout. Man, if you're lucky, you get it pulled back to about 42 or 41 bucks. And get an opportunity to get back on the ride. Solar panels are a commodity. Most of the big companies already making them are companies like Samsung and LG and all those. And to tell you the truth, there isn't that much difference between all of them. The more expensive ones, you get a little bit better capability out, but physics tells us that solar panels have about theoretically have about a 27, 28% efficiency rating. They're never going to get better than that. And those are the ones that are 10 times more expensive than the ones that are about 18% efficient. So most of the people have on the roof the 18% efficient type solar cells. They're only thing that even comes close to making a dent in it. But of course, when you're looking at power, especially when you live in states that have extremely poor management like California, there's many areas that you're either buying a Generac generator or you're buying solar panels. You're doing something because the people are so incredibly bat crap crazy that they can't manage the forests and everything else and end up burning up the entire state. But from my understanding, this big pop had a lot to do with it. And of course, anytime you get any kind of big storm, what is it, Generac, GNRC, I think? Both of these companies have been doing well in that business just because of California's inability to go in there and pull some logs out that act as normal kindling. But pretty nice pop for that Generac. There's a lot of money already in this thing. But from $75.10, it really hasn't pulled back that much. Gold diggers are still out there. Yes, they are. To SEDG. Solar Edge, nice pop on it. But let's see, let's make sure. Yeah, all of these companies are into making power because, well, this one's Solar Edge is in Israel, but they're the same thing. They sell direct current optimized inverter systems for solar photovoltaic. And that's because the solar panels make DC, and you really need to get to AC for everything in your house. Of course, if you're going to actually transfer the power that far, you want to turn it into AC anyway. But cars, kind of a good business in it. But of course, most of the car companies are going to make or have their own DC to AC converters. They're also extremely different between a car and the rooftops. So there's kind of two different kinds of, what would you call it? Well, certainly power levels. For a car, you need to probably move 480 amps at the flip of a switch, where you've got on solar panels, it's more about efficiency because at best, like I said, you may have a lot of solar panels up there, but they're all kind of just putting out just a little bit of power. much different than a lot of batteries putting out a lot of power that need to then go to the wheels. A lot of these cars actually have a motor for each wheel. And, of course, all that has to be routed and put around. But AC motors for cars a lot more efficient mostly. So, again, you're taking that DC battery power and turning it into AC. There's I wouldn't say it's the same thing as RF, radio frequency, but there is a lot of kind of black magic in getting that stuff right. Anyway, good day for those people. And, of course, the band from Australia, AC/DC, DC/AC, all the same stuff. Be back in a minute.
If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates to my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back from the show, got a question about Boeing that came in. Anything happening on this one? And I have to say yes. Article out last night saying that Boeing will be going back into production with the 737s, 800 Maxes in late April. So they must think that they're getting ready to move things along. Not a lot of volume the last couple of days. There's a company in Canada that makes simulators for about $20 million a hit. And apparently the pilots are all going to have to go through an hour or two of simulation on these new, and they're trying to buy as many as they can get before the 737 Maxes go back in the air. But it's probably going to take a couple hours for each pilot to go through the sim training with an instructor. But other than that, things are actually looking fairly good. Some of the articles out there seem to be a little bit weird. They always say, well, we found a big problem. And of course, the problem that everybody was trying to rain on them today was about the wiring in the tail, which didn't change in between all the 737s. Boeing basically stating that, why you could make some changes in that wiring, but it's not clear in the regulations. They've got 100 million flight hours. 100 million flight hours with that wiring, and it hasn't come into any kind of shorts or any kind of other problem. You're going to have broken wires in any system, but you're not going to have a major failure like a short. So Boeing's just saying, hey, we built it this way for 30 years, some 35 years, and it's worked every time. Well, why change something that works? I think that's what they were doing when they did it. A lot of those regulations kind of depends on if you're going to get a bunch of attorneys in there to litigate it. But a lot of times if it works, it works. Also, more than interesting is in the last 10 years for the U.S. airliner companies, what would you guess the odds are of dying in a plane crash in a regularly scheduled airliner accident in the last 10 years, compared to getting, let's say, like hit by lightning? It is almost 10 times more likely that you got hit by lightning than if you died in an airliner crash in the last 10 years in the United States. That may tell you at some point it may not be easy to make these things any more safer. The real problems come in the regional airlines and general aviation, especially like the Kobe Bryant incident. Those folks work on a different set of regulations. There's basically three: general aviation. There's one for people that are kind of like charter and hauling freight. And then there's the ones where they haul people on a regular scheduled airline. But you're basically down to the point where your odds are almost zero, at least over the last 10 years. And it seems kind of interesting to me that you don't get that kind of perfection almost anywhere. If you were really going to worry about getting hurt or killed, your odds are 1,000 times more likely that you will die from a bad diagnosis from going to the hospital. That's the place where you're going to die. So, what else can you say? Give me a call, 877-927-6648. You can, of course, send stuff to me via the email. Got a question. Hey, what do you think of tan? Well, it's not a vibrant color, certainly. This is the solar index. Again, the big driving factor right now is California. And I think a lot of people are anticipating the growth that they got out of California to do the exact same thing in Australia. They're going to have the exact same issues, which is if your house didn't burn down, how are you going to get power? Because everything else got burnt to a crisp out there. So there's a lot of places where the governments really didn't do their job, or in the case of Australia, it wasn't people doing their jobs. It was, I think they've caught some 225 different people setting fires in Australia. So basically, I never knew Australia was full of firebugs, but apparently it is. Anyway, up on decent volume. You got to, I'm not going to chase anything here, but certainly this break above 34, if it came back to it on light volume, maybe you get something nicer out of it. But I'm not a big chaser, but I think the only way you make money on one of these is, and of course, like I said, nothing's changing in California and probably nothing changing in Australia. And, the only thing that could change this is maybe a giant hurricane coming in and wiping out the electrical grid of the Southeast, or maybe Texas or something. But that's it. I was going to get a little. My neighborhood is not that bad. Okay. It's extremely more expensive to buy solar power than it is to buy and generate regular power. But sometimes you just don't have an option, as you have here. Do you have any opinion on the stock? The company beat earnings revenue, but dropped 20% from its high yesterday. Okay, INMD. In mode. It kind of had a big reversal, didn't it? Let's take another look at this one here real quick. Okay. Designs, develops, manufactures, markets minimally invasive aesthetic medical products based on its proprietary radio frequency assisted lip. So they're giving you microwaves to get rid of your fat. Subdermal fraction radio frequency technology. Company offers minimally invasive aesthetic, okay. Including permanent hair reduction, face skin rejuvenation, wrinkle, cellulite treatment. I have no idea how well this stuff actually works. I'm kind of iffy if this thing can't go straight to the moon and do what it says it does. I wonder how well all this stuff actually works. I'll take a look at it during the break.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the tax opportunity zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com. Educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Back in on in mode, INMD. It looks like some insider selling is what I'm reading. And you just have to give it some time. I think you want to look for it around $34.60, but you have to make sure that the insiders are done selling. Apparently, some pretty good discussions about the products being rather good, but may look like some of the insiders that have been there for a while may be looking to exit. And a lot of times with companies like this, you get maybe not the CEO, but some of the underlings selling and getting ready to go start other companies in the same kind of vein. But just a lot of disappointed people, I think, from what I'm reading here, in that they had good news and someone took that opportunity to sell into it. One of the other big movers of the day is AMD, another gap higher. Volume's kind of okay. Very tough for me to see that things are getting that good, but maybe something I don't see. Seems like it's been pretty stretched since about $50. NVIDIA, another one doing the exact same thing, up to 313. Of course, it gapped up on earnings. I was fairly positive on that. You really wanted this thing to kind of come back on light volume to about 270. All these gaps are probably going to get filled eventually. Things get better and worse. But NVIDIA still has the number one video card, either for artificial intelligence, machine learning, or video games. And really the video game's kind of the big deal right now. But I don't think there's really a good card to compete with any of them. It's almost the exact opposite for AMD against Intel, where Intel has almost nothing. But Intel's business has been fairly good. The downside is you got a fairly decent sell signal on Intel. It may get negated today, but you're on very light volume. This one, 64, 63 isn't the end of the world. But certainly this thing could come back to $60. It is probably the one that has the weakest setups longer term. Shorter term, a lot of the other ones are just hugely extended. This one just shows you that it really hasn't been able to drive up higher. The new CEO that took over, kind of a political infighter, not one that probably is really known for a lot of technology. And as a CFO, he knows how to cook the books really well. And my thinking is that he's just gotten rid of a lot of dead wood, hadn't made the company really that much better yet. And I dislike that he's basically surrendered the consumer end to AMD. Generally, those things come back to bite you. One of the first CEOs of Intel had one saying that he had engraved on a piece of wood in his office, and it said, "If we don't eat our own lunch, someone else will." And that was always to remind him that he needed to be competitive and not give anybody a foothold in their business. And I think that's exactly what's happened for Intel. It's got a lot of various issues. Okay. I think we got all those. Okay. Intel, we'll look at that. Stamps.com, a lot of these have earnings. We'll go through them fairly quickly. I don't know. Nothing's really changed, has it, in Stamps.com? I mean, it was up there because they had an exclusive with the U.S. Postal Service. Don't have that any longer. Testing the previous high on about a fourth of the volume at 97.50 today. Zillow Group back into this gap that goes back a little farther. When this rolled off on huge volume back on August the 7th of 2018. So we're, a year and a half? Yeah, a year and a half on, a little more than a year. Let's call it a year and a half on. Gap down with 4.5 million shares. And you filled about half that gap. This is where the real huge resistance will come along. If you had a good reason to short this, this is exactly the pattern I look for, which is to fill half that gap and do it on lighter volume. The downside, you didn't have lighter volume today. You had a good day with some decent volume. Wing, W-I-N-G, Wingstop, wings. Wonder how these chickens are supposed to fly. But down a little bit, but I can't make a big deal out of it today. Verisk Analytics, VRSK, trying to get a little higher than its previous high going back to September 6th. You had a lot of juice, but not much action yesterday. Big gap lower. It's kind of made up most of that. But maybe a little bit of weakness out there. Synopsys, like a lot of these tech stocks, just a little higher. Again, I don't expect these to break before Friday for expiration. There's no sign. Maybe there's some news that comes out. Sleep Number, IPO, not much on this one either. James Smuckers, Solar Edge, we talked about that one. Sonic Automotive. Now, this one took a beating down to 26.68 today, still down a couple of bucks. But you know what? Probably going to go down and test 26.68 again. RETA was Rita Pharmaceuticals, almost nothing on its earnings. Owens Corning, the glass that Samsung made for its new bendable phones seems to not be all that great. The reviews are starting to come in. I thought this one may have the other part of it, GLW, might have some issues. This one's the one that makes fiberglass for homes. And a nice pop up here. Of course, home sales have been looking good. Let's see if GLW is what it is. And yeah, not much movement on GLW, though. Okay. NTR. Do I have Nordstrom? Nordson, excuse me, not Nordstrom. It pulled back a little bit more volume here. You're back into the gap up with 200,000 shares. Came down with 300,000 shares yesterday. Kirkland Gold. Yeah, a little dark cloud cover on that one today. IMAX, as long as these theaters remain closed in China, a huge drain. They lose an immense amount of money every single day. Those theaters are closed. What else do we have out here? Groupon, Garmin. We were talking about that earlier. We'll finish up the show with that at the break. But I thought at one point this company had a big chance to go out of business. We'll talk about how they recovered when they come back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Had a email asking about fuel cell. From a chart perspective, this is incredibly ugly. First high at 140 million shares, second high at 62 million shares. Today you're in there with 37 million shares. If this doesn't at least get to 60 million shares, you got some problems. The biggest issue I have with fuel cells is that Japan is all over this sector, and my guess is that they've fairly much committed to it. Which makes me think that they've got a good design for a fuel cell that probably doesn't use gold or platinum. That's always been kind of the holy grail of this business. Kind of a decent business to be in right now, the fuel cell business. But again, Japan isn't big on buying other companies. Now, could they buy a company like this out, just get any patents maybe they've got lurking around? They could, but generally they don't. They just avoid them and build something or design something new. So problematic for me on the chart. Long term too, there's a fairly decent move by the Japanese to basically corner the market on it. Garmin, at one time I thought it was going to go out of business. They've successfully now moved into a lot of avenues outside just the standard GPS business, but map making, avionics is a huge business for them. They've got a lot of contracts with airlines, that kind of stuff. Nice break a high above the previous high, and it's holding 800,000 shares back on January 28th. You're up with 2 million shares already today. So a good and valid breakout today on Garmin. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Remember to sell when you can, not when you have to.